Welcome back. Solving systems of equations. This time, excuse me, we're going to do elimination. So again, section 6.1, same types of equations, different way. And I do want you to watch all these videos, or at least read all these sections, because in the next video, we'll see new equations and we'll have to determine which is the best way to solve them. Okay, so here we go. Let's solve the system by elimination. So what does this mean? Well, the idea is that sometimes it's easier, or it might be nicer, to multiply these equations by a number that's easy to solve. And this is a really nice method, to tell you the truth. Especially for those of you that like to look for quick ways of doing things. I think this sometimes can be very, very quick. Okay, so again, we label the equations 1 and 2. So this is 1, and this one's 2. And what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can explain this in a way that makes sense. We're going to multiply one of the equations. So multiply 1 or both equations by a constant that allows us to cancel something out, cancel or eliminate a variable. And so in this particular problem, I would like to, and just again, it doesn't matter which one you do, but the thing is that what I think I want to do is I want to multiply this top equation. Actually, no, this bottom equation. Yeah, let's multiply this bottom equation. Specifically, I want this x to cancel. So notice this is 2x. So I want to know the opposite of 2. The opposite of 2 is negative 2. So maybe if I multiply the second equation by negative 2. So that's what I'm going to say. So multiply second equation by negative 2. And so when I do this, I rewrite the first equation. I say, okay, my first equation was unchanged, 2x minus y equals 2. But the second equation, I'm going to multiply by negative 2. So it's negative 2 times the second equation. And so what I'm going to get is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4y. And then negative 2 and negative 2 is also positive 4. And the reason we do this is then we sort of eliminate going down. Notice that 2x minus 2x is 0x. So 0x. So we're just going to write 0. And then negative y plus 4y, well, that's 3y. And finally, 2 plus 4, that's 6. And the 0 doesn't really matter. We don't really need that. And we can divide by 3. And lo and behold, look at that, y equals 2. And that didn't take very long. And in fact, you could have done it the other way. You could have said, well, no, I don't want to get rid of the x's. I want to get rid of the y's. So maybe I want to multiply this by negative 2 to get a positive 2y and then cancel these guys. But again, there's lots of different ways. The second thing we usually tell people to do, again, it doesn't have to be this way, but the second thing we'd say is plug in the answer from step 1 into any of the two of the equations, any of the original two. And I would say original just to make sure it's correct, original two equations. And what I mean by that is sometimes you make algebraic errors, and so the originals, there's no errors, so you usually plug them in here. And so in this case, we take this y equals 2, and I'm going to go ahead, it looks like it's really easy to plug it into this one, less work to do, so I'm going to plug it into 1. So I'm going to go ahead and go right there, and so I'm left. So this is red, so I'm going to say, okay, 2x minus a number is equal to 2. Well, that number is this 2, so I'm going to plug this in here. So I'm left with 2x minus 2 is equal to 2. And some of you can do this in your head, obviously. But you can add 2 to both sides, right? This is allowed. So I'm going to add 2. And I get that, oops, sorry, wrong one. 2x equals 4. This is not cancel, this is a 4. And then divide by 2, so you get x equals 2. And again, now that you've watched all the videos, you know this is really correct. The solution really is, we've checked it enough time, the solution is x equals 2, y equals 2, okay? Or 2 comma 2. So that's how that works. And so what I'd like you to do is take the second equation and see if you get something similar. So I'll let you play with this a little bit. Welcome back. And so this one's a little bit trickier. So we're going to do the same thing, but I have to rewrite 2 in order for this to make sense. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, the first equation is x plus 2y equals 1. But the second equation, it makes it easier for me to maybe rewrite it in this form. You see, this negative, it means you can think of it as subtraction, but it can also be thought of as minus 2, the opposite of 2. So there it is, the opposite of 2. And then here there's no sign, but 3 is definitely a positive number. So this 3, if it's positive, we can think of it as plus 3. We're adding something positive, and then the negative 9. And then once I see it like this, I almost think that what I should do is multiply, and so I'm going to write it down. I think the first thing I should do is multiply equation 1 by 2. Now there's many ways to do this, but I really think if I multiply equation 1 by 2, this is what I get. My new one, so 2 times the 1, this is now 2x plus 4y equals 2. So I multiply this number here by 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. And the second equation is, so the equation number 2, is negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 9. And now hopefully the math isn't too bad, right? These cancel out, and I'm left with 7y equals negative 7. And so I get that y equals negative 1. And then, like I said earlier, you can plug this in into any number, any of these equations that you want. I feel like this number, it would be nicer if I plugged it in here. You don't have to. You could plug it into the other one, but I think that's the nicer one. And so on equation 1, I have x plus 2 times some number equals to 1. And that number is negative 1. So I'm going to put the negative 1 here. And so I'm left with x minus 2 equals 1. I add 2 to both sides, and I get that x equals 3. And so my solution is x equals 3 and y equals negative 1, which is again the same thing we've gotten both times. I don't have to check it this time because we've already checked it a couple times. Okay, so that is elimination. That should give you enough. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Good luck.